Good afternoon, good evening to all my wonderful and beautiful little lovelies out there. And how I love you all so. I hope you're all super duper wonderful, super duper delish, and that life is treating you most deliciously. I hope you're feeling the love. Continue to feel the love, my little honey bunnies. Now then, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? 25 past 8 on the 8th of August 2026. My delicious little babies. Now I'm going to do this video now because I'm not doing one tomorrow. Okay, my delicious little babies. Simple things. I just do not feel like doing a video. Okay, but I want to just mention a few things. Okay, and I hope that life is treating you most deliciously. Okay, it has been warm all day. The sun's been in and out. And then very shortly, I must go and water my little plants. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then. So I've got 2 videos to advertise. I think this one has 16.3 or 16.9 thousand subscribers. This will be a one-off, my delicious little babies. Capital L, let's, space, capital T, talk, space, capital A, about, and then space, capital R, it. So no spaces. The upload are both on YouTube. These are 2 videos I'm advertising. Let's talk about it. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now this video is just over 14 minutes long, my delicious little babies, and you've got the uploader there, bless them, with anybody not in that way, who is talking about, he is just saying that you're better off at home. Okay, my delicious little babies. So that's number 1. Number 2, a video that I came across both of these bad way, my delicious little babies. Okay, just have to keep with the page. Okay, it's called a capital P. Sorry, my delicious little babies. Proving space capital D demons. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then. He happens to have 252,000 subscribers. Now, sorry, excuse me, from what I'm gathering, he does all, the paranormal and everything. Now, apparently, what he's talking about, it's not a very long video. I think it's just over 10 minutes long. The title to the video, okay, is I've got 4 weeks to live, and then question mark. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, what he's talking about, I should imagine that, because I've never seen this channel before, and again, this will be like a one-off, but I want to highlight something. Okay, my delicious babies. And then finally, there is one more thing to talk about. But what this is about is that he's saying, and especially around the COVID time, that what happened was, I suppose he must have got a little bit carried away on the old drinky poos. Well, what he found happening, he must have been, and I'm going to be honest with you, my delicious little babies, okay? He must have been, and I will say, bless him, I'll say it about anybody, okay? He must have been a very heavy drinker. He's got to have been. And what's happened is he's in the hospital. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, you would only be in that situation if you drink, there we are, majorly heavy. Okay, so even if you probably have some drinks, you could have a drink 5 day a week if you wanted to, okay? But number 1, it's all depending, okay, on number 1, what you're drinking, okay, for a start off. So say, for example, if you haven't had anything to eat, I'm only using examples, right? And I know ones who are in the 80s, they probably only had a little drink down the little social club, they've been to work and everything, gone home, got showered and changed. 9 times out of 10, they probably had their tea, and then they, just have a little at the little social club, which is usually members only. You know what I mean? Okay, we've had those for decades in our old England. although they're shutting a lot of those down. Anyway, Maatalistic babies. But say, for example, if you're not going to eat till the evening, and say you go out at lunch, whatever o'clock, even if you have a pint of milk, full fat milk, and you just drink that, so you just knock that back, it's putting a lining on your tummy. You know what I mean? Maatalistic babies now. He showed on this video where he did show where his tummy, apparently it was a lot bigger than that, larger than that, Maatalistic babies. But he's found himself, he thought he had a tummy bug, and he's been in the hospital now for a month. And he's got non-stop, he's showing you, Maatalistic babies, non-stop, where they're putting this in him, putting that in him. Some things, it's really catching my attention. This is Maatalistic babies, okay? And the reason why I'm mentioning this, and of course my heart goes out to, there we are, my heart goes out to anybody who repeat that again, okay? Because I know all about this. Okay, Maatalistic babies, and I did say it not long after I started my channel. So whoever's watched my videos will know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I happen, there we are, to very much be in the know about this. Okay, Maatalistic babies, and they seem to be taking regular blood from him. Now, I'm finding this, there we are, extremely questionable. Why that amount of blood? Okay, Maatalistic babies, I'm just asking. They even put him in the ICU. Right? Now, the ICU is usually for, and once again, I'm very, very knowledgeable on this as well, as I'm sure there'll be many of your beautiful selves who are also very knowledgeable, with these different things. But usually, there's a breathing apparatus there, for somebody who cannot breathe on their own, let's just say, as an example. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? So he's telling everybody, but getting back to the COVID bit, he probably, maybe, bless him, got a little bit carried away, you know what I mean? Because, of course, even now, ones are still suffering now with, everything that's gone on, do you know what I mean? My delicious babies, but he's telling everybody, do not drink, okay? So you're talking about a man now then who's been drinking, there we are, for a very long time, okay? But like I say, it depends on what he was drinking, okay? So you have to see what you're drinking, what the levels are that you're drinking, okay? But it's very important, if you're going to drink, there we are, to eat. So what you're finding, like where I used to live, I said about this, whatever o'clock, this man was completely hammered every day. It's a rarity you'd ever see him sober. And if you've seen him sober, he wouldn't say boo to a goose. But when he had the old drink poos in him, you know what I mean? Okay? He turned into a little demon. Do you know what I mean? He was very abusive to anybody who happened to be walking up the road or down the road or passing him. He stood in my path one day, do you know what I mean? And, at the end of the day, I said, well, are you going to move out of the way, please, so I can get past? He tried to be very intimidating to others, do you know what I mean, okay? But the chances are I shouldn't have imagined that he would drink an awful lot. And I'd be surprised, quite frankly, if that man's still alive today. But getting back to this man now, it is a shame. I mean, he's got a lot of support with the comments from what I can see, okay? And he's apologising for not being on land. But what he wants, he said he was sparing a thought, thinking of getting somebody to bring his cameras in. He says because he feels that the hospital's rather eerie, and he said that he's up the early hours of the morning when everybody else is asleep, so he's thinking of taking some footage. Well, fair play, you know what I mean? It gives him something to do while he's in there. But we get back to this question, don't we, Maatalistic babies? Now, everybody knows, well, everybody, there we are, should know that livers, there we are, can repair themselves. Okay, if you have, I mean, by the way, I'm not a doctor or nurse, okay? It's just all these things now I've learned over the decades. Now, if it's a kidney complaint, okay, because he did, I'm pretty sure he talked about a kidney infection, okay? Now, with the kidneys, again, you have to be more careful there, because if it is lower, it can be treated with the antibiotics and everything like this now then. If it's the upper, but you've got to be careful that, because it's all to do with, you've got to be careful that you basically as well, you know, with these infections as well, if it's the upper tract, that your body, well, basically it doesn't drown itself, you know what I mean, okay? So it's, so you have to, I know what I'm talking about anyway. The point of the matter is, my delicious baby, so you do have to monitor that, but usually, like I say, lower tract, you know, it's antibiotics, okay, but if it's the upper, you know, you've got a few problems, okay. Now, he's also said that he's on water tablets, and of course, you know, if it's the upper, it can be fatal, okay, and of course, that can put a lot of weight on you as well, okay. But he said that they're giving him water tablets, you know, to reduce some of the water, to take some of the water out of his body, okay? Now, he said he's sort of half and half at the moment. That's what he said, okay? But I'm just questioning why all of these... I'm questioning a lot of it, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? In that video that was over 10 minutes long, you'd need to listen to what he's saying, my delicious little babies, but you'd need to see, you know, as long as you're not squeamish, of course, my delicious little babies. Everywhere where he's had needles here, needles there, he's got needles there, it's just, in my view, it just looks horrendous. But I want to know, we get back to it again. I want to know where all this blood is going, because nobody should be giving anybody that amount of blood tests. No, and that doesn't mean yes. Okay, my delicious little babies, that's just my view on this, listening to the video, but I can only hope that he gets well. Okay, he never mentioned about eating or anything. I would have been interested to hear what types of food that he's eating. That would have been very interesting to know, my delicious little babies. But I suppose I might look at another video. I might look at some, because I'm very much into the paranormal. I don't like to call them, you know, I hate to say ghost hunting, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, because they were once us. Do you understand what I mean? Spirit. Because as you know, ghosts, well, are in between. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so that could have been a tragedy, a car accident or something, and very sadly, if the dear mankind, man or woman, has passed away at the scene, you know, their spirits, you know, is stuck. That's when it's called a ghost. Anyway, my delicious babies, but they were once you and us. I hate to say ghost hunting, but I cannot think. I mean, whichever way you look at it, you know, or spirit hunting, none of it sounds very good, does it, my delicious babies? But I'm very much into that side of things, you know what I mean, my delicious babies. You know, I love going and, you know, to see what I can pick up. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, but I do not take the mickey. I never ever do, but you got others who go, reveal yourselves, and I'm thinking, oh, shut the effing hell up, you silly bitch. Do you know what I mean? I've been to places like that where that's took place, you know? It's just ridiculous, you know, to talk to them like that, you know what I mean? If I was a flipping spirit, I'd come beyond, do you know what I mean? They wouldn't be able to see me, my delicious babies anyway. I'm not joking, no, I'm not. Anyway, my delicious babies, okay? But seriously, anyway, that wouldn't be for decades anyway. My delicious little babies, there we are, guy. But you know, I'll take a look at some of his other videos, but and you know, I'll just see how he's getting on. But no, it's not a very good road to go down. Do you know what I mean? But if he's got to that stage with his tummy like that, well, like I said, livers, there we are, can repair themselves. Okay, it's quite there we are, remarkable actually, what your liver can do. I mean, it's really, our bodies, really, it's a miracle that each and every one of us are up and about, well, apart from the dear little souls, bless them, who cannot walk or who are paralysed or, for some reason, bless them. Okay, but for the majority of us, we can walk, talk, see, hear, walk, talk, taste, touch, sense, and smell. You see what I mean, okay? But bless the dear little souls for others, if they don't have the sight or they don't have the hearing, then they'll have their other senses, you know what I mean? But bless them. But yes, but I probably would have said, I don't know, maybe without seeing more of his videos, to know what's going on here, but maybe he could not have been eating maybe as much as what he should have been. Okay? But like I said, we don't know what he was drinking. There we are. It's all about what you're drinking. You know what I mean? Okay? But to tell ones on the video, bless him, I know what he's saying. We're not to drink, not to, you know what I'm saying, okay? But I've known ones who live, I went to go and see when I used to do my care work. She was 99, bless her. And for decades, she used to have a little shot of whiskey, a little bit of milk in it. Just had to be in the microwave just for so many seconds, literally the amount of seconds that she said. And she said, well, it's never, she used to talk very posh, well, it's never done myself any harm. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so it just depends what kind of drinker. But if he was, which he did admit in this video, that he did admit that he was, maybe partying a bit. There we are, when he was younger and everything. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, well, we've all gone partying. But, to end up, bless him, not in that way like that, he must have been, there we are, seriously drinking, my delicious little babies. And it's a shame, it really is. But especially around that time, and with the lockdowns and everything, it certainly really, well, it didn't do anybody any good. I mean, for myself, I just never took no notice. I just carried on the way I'd normally carry on. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, I went out walking with beautiful little Rose, went shopping, just went and done all just different things. I thought, well, it's not going to stop my day. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, but for others, they took it, there we are, very badly. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, so, my sympathies with anybody who has gone through that, my delicious baby. So we can only hope, bless him, that he gets better. But bless him, he's not on his own. You will find there we are millions in the world, my delicious little babies, and you've got others, bless them, where they've got eating problems, and I mean severely eating. And of course that's going to play a lot of part on your heart. But I'm questioning, there we are, everything what these doctors and nurses are doing in that hospital where your man is. Okay, there's something, for myself, I would have been asking really a lot of questions. Do you understand what I mean? Because I used to be like that. I used to have a beautiful, dear, sweet, a dear little friend who I have talked about. She used to be one of my best friends of over 20 years. And she used to have 3 jobs. But she found herself, you know what I mean, severe asthmatic, what do they call it, CPOD. She'd had a rather large number of strokes. She had a rather large number of heart attacks. But she wasn't a drinker. Do you understand what I'm saying, okay? But I used to question the doctors when I used to go in after work. And I used to say, well, why is all the beautiful dear little friend, why is her eyes all glazed over like that? And I'd be talking to her and, she'd be trying to focus to look at me. And she'd usually be sat by the nurse's station. They said, oh, she's all right. I said, no, she's not all right. I said, this is not my beautiful dear friend. I said, what have you given her? You see, I would be questioning. Do you understand what I mean, okay? but she spent more time in the hospital, bless her, than she did out. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so, and she's suffered terribly. But, she still used to laugh all the time. She still, do you understand what I mean? Even as poorly as what she was, but oh, bless you, our little darling, may you rest in peace. I always say that anyway. But the point is, because, of course, any one of my beautiful dear little friends, I love them so, do you know what I mean? But she just went too soon, way too soon. But she wasn't a drinker or nothing, you know what I mean, like that. She certainly was not. I'm talking about when I used to go to the hospital, because I just do not trust the doctors and nurses. There'd be very few who I'd ever trust, you know what I mean? But I'll certainly be questioning here. There we are. What exactly is going on? I'll be questioning why they're taking this amount of blood that they're taking, why the need for that. There we are. You've got to question. Now, that's one last thing I've got to say about your man there in the hospital who advertised. He says he's on loads of medication. What's that going to do for him for the rest of his life? He only looks quite young, actually. He doesn't look like an older man. What's that going to... Well, we know, there we are, we know what road this is going down, don't we, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So, anyway, I'll keep looking and see how he's getting on, you know what I mean? But it's hit a number very hard, especially that lockdown. There's so many who never took it very well at all, my delicious little babies, not well at all, okay? Now, finally, my delicious little babies. Now, anybody, bless your beautiful dear little hearts, who has listened to my videos for whatever amount of years, you will know that I used to advertise sometimes, not in that way with this uploader either, called History Debunked. No, there we are. Now, I used to advertise him, Simon, his name is. And he's an elderly gentleman, okay? And I advertised him years back. I only have to go back in my books. Anyway, I do not need to. I mean, but if you wanted me to show you, I would get my book and, my books and show you on the screen. You know what I mean? Well, I'm pretty sure I do remember this, but I completely, I've got to be honest, forgotten all about it. Now, I was listening to this evening, who I do advertise sometimes, not in that way either, Winston Marshall on YouTube, my delicious little babies. It's his latest video. It's only probably now nearly 3 hour old now, okay? So it's the latest video. He's up to 483,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies. Anyway, sometimes on and off I will advertise him as well. He does get some good guests on. Well, I mean, anybody who I advertise, you know what I mean? They're all really good, marvellous uploaders in their own right. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. But he's talking to a man called, what's his name? Nathan Kofiat, oh gosh, I'm sorry if I got the name wrong. Kofiat or something. Okay. And apparently this man here is the one who exposed, what's his name? Jason Arday. Now, I remember seeing Jason Arday on my feed. It would come up on my feed. And I am going back whatever o'clock. I've completely forgot all about it because I've been looking at that many different videos. I'm not really paying maybe as much attention as what I should be. But anyway, well, I was listening to this, but in the comments, right, ones are going, well, words to effect, well, this, your man here, in other words, this Nathan, whatever, Kofiat, or Koftia, he's, to expose it, he says, and a number of comments are all coming up the same, just different words, but coming up the same. Well, History Debunked, Simon Webb, he talked about this 3 years ago. Okay, and if my noddle serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure I would have seen, because I used to watch quite a few of Simon's History Debunked on YouTube, my delicious babies. I don't know how many he's up to now. I don't know, he probably could be up to about 400,000. I'd need to have a look anyway, Martin Ishtuk Babies, but it's very good the way that he explains history. Because, everybody explains history different. Like somebody who I haven't seen for whatever o'clock either, who I used to advertise as well. Not in that way, not in that way, with anybody. The Jolly Heretic on YouTube as well, Martin Ishtuk Babies. I've advertised him. He's very good to do with the history and things like this as well. Because everybody explains, like I said, history. They all have their own different way of explaining history, but I just believe that we've been bullshitted so much, Martin Ishtuk Babies. You just cannot believe nothing anyway. But let's quickly get back to the matter in hand, because I do not want to make this a long video, okay? And it is starting to go a little bit dusker now. And I must go and water my plants, like I said, my flowers. But I actually, now, if this is taken the wrong way, that's not my damn problem, do you know what I mean? But come on. Now, your man there now, okay? He's, he's done a good number, hasn't he, Martin Slick Babies, this Jason Arday? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, for him to say, that he's, done this, done that, done the next thing now. Well, really, if you look at it, you cannot blame Jason Arday, can you? If you really look at it, you cannot blame him. Who you blame would be the university, surely. And, the staff there or whatever. That's who you blame. Not your man there now then. Come on. He was, clearly, from what it sounds like, he was clearly, filling his boots, bless him. Do you understand what I mean? The guy, and it seemed to myself, doing a pretty good damn job. Do you know what I mean? Okay? Of course, until he got caught out, bless him. But, not in that way, you know what I mean? But, I'm not saying, ones are looking at this seriously, by looking at some of the comments. Well, of course, because, especially if ones are paying a lot of ka-ching, ching, 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 you know what I mean? But, how do we know? We do not know what his lessons were like or how he was teaching, you know what I mean? You never know. If he had managed to stay there, he may have taught them, the students, pupils, well, the students, aren't they? Yeah, he probably would have taught them some things now then, you know what I mean, that you would never usually ever learn in a university. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, so me personally, I cannot see what the big hoo-ha is. Now, someone probably say, what flipping effing planet is this your woman on here on about myself? But no, I personally cannot see what the big hoo-ha is. For myself, you can only blame the university itself. It's Cambridge, isn't it? Well, it seems to myself, my delicious little babies, that you got a lot with nothing in between the ears, haven't you, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? And it's supposed to be one of the top universities. University. I just find the whole thing now rather amusing. Plus the fact, somebody had put, was it in one of the comments, a Walter Mitty? I used to say that saying decades ago. A Walter Mitty is somebody who actually believes their own bullshit. You know what I mean? I used to say this decades ago. I'm 52 now. That's not old. I used to be saying that when I was like 20, 19, 20, when I used to use that saying. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? But, I just say fair play. It's an experience, isn't it? But that Nathan did say words to effect that, others have said that they've done, over decades, I do not feel he was talking about Cambridge. It's probably other in the world, other universities in the world over the decades, that sometimes ones have said that they've done this or said they've done that, and, well, really they haven't. Okay, Martin, babies, okay? I suppose just so that they can get in the university. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies. But no, I just see this as, and of course, this will be doing its rounds now for whatever o'clock, you know what I mean? Okay, because everybody's got to talk about something else now, you know what I mean? But for myself, fair play to him, there we are. He got away with it as long as he did. And, ones that just say to themselves, well, what's she say that? But you've got to look at it. But you cannot blame, the way I see it is, you cannot blame him. Okay, fair enough. He's told porcupines. You know what I mean? Okay? But, come on, nobody can tell myself that nobody knew there. That he maybe exaggerated some things or something, well, really, who hasn't exaggerated in the world? You know what I mean? Okay, fair enough, some more than others. But another thing I would say, at least he got to see the inside of, the ins and outs of how it works and everything, you know what I mean, okay? So I suppose we can take a positive from what maybe others will see as a negative. And that's all I have to say, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But, he's done something that, even if others are told the odd porcupine, you know what I mean? I mean, he's obviously put the cherry on the top. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, but you have to sit back, and I'll repeat this once again, and say, well, who is to blame for it? And furthermore, why was it allowed to go on for so long? But you cannot blame Jason Arday for that. Do you see what I'm saying, my delicious little babies? Yes. Okay? That's all that I'm saying. Because if you're an outsider looking in, you're looking at it from a different angle, but nobody can tell myself that others did not know, whether it's 1 or whether it's 50. You know what I mean? That they never knew exactly what was going on, or maybe, they thought, do you know what I mean, to question something now. So that's what I've got to say, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But do I think that it's something in history? Well, yes. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Because I'm pretty sure nobody else will come along and do it the same way that he did it. I did it my way. You just got to see the funny side of it, yeah. And I mean, this is one of the top flipping damn universities. You just got to see the funny side of it, Martin, little babies. Okay, so, somebody put in a comment, well, the student should be refunded, oh, for goodness sake. The fact of the matter is, I think they're missing the point. I think if we had seen how he taught, but we haven't been able to, get a glimpse to see how your man there was teaching. I mean, I'm pretty sure, I'm being serious now, Martin, babies. Not in that way. But for all we know, there we are. It could have been rather interesting. There we are. Do you understand what I mean, Martin, babies? But I suppose we're never going to know, are we? I suppose they're the ones at Cambridge University are not going to tell us, are they, Martin, babies? No. Okay, so whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beauty little selves and your beauty little families, may you all be fully protected. And how I love you so. You're super duper wonderful, super duper delish, and I'll love you. Okay, my delicious babies. So until my next video, you just look after now. But yes, you cannot blame your man there now then. Of course, if he's not going to get caught, bless him, not in that way. He'll just do more, which is what happened. So it was rolling. Do you understand what I mean, okay? Until clearly, bless he got caught out. But we also have to look at, maybe it was allowed to continue to drag on for a bit. There we are. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, yes. Anyway, so, well, let's just hope that, he gets another job and, You know what I mean? And that he'll be happy in his new job. Do you know what I mean? My delicious babies anyway. So you just look after. So until my next video, my little beautifuls, okay? Like I said, I'm not going to do one tomorrow. So if I do happen to come across any videos, I'll leave it now until Monday. Okay? I don't like Mondays. Tell me why I don't like Mondays. No, I never did flipping like Mondays, my delicious babies, especially at flipping school. Flipping hated Mondays. Have you ever hated a particular day? Monday was my day, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Anyway, so love you, take care. Thank you once again for listening, for any likes, for any views, the occasional comments. Take care. Goodbye.